Hello, hello, hello. Okay, well listen, it's prime time. We got the Steelers here tonight. If you're ready to see the guys take care of business, let me hear you make some noise. It's a Thursday game. You know, they got to warm up to it. I got you. Let's try one more time. All right. If y'all are ready to watch your Pittsburgh Steelers take care of business tonight, let me hear you make some noise. All righty, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that don't know, I am Arthur Moats, retired linebacker of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I will be your host tonight. Appreciate you. And I'm super excited to talk to this guy right here because he's what we like to call an all-around good guy. Now, he came into the NFL in the 1998 NFL Draft when the Detroit Lions selected him in the second round, 60th overall selection out of Eastern Michigan University. And once he came into the league, he enjoyed a 15-year career with those first 4 years coming with the Lions, but those final 11 years right here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And during that time, he threw for 11,085 yards, 61 passing touchdowns, and he won not one, but 2 Super Bowls right here with your Steelers. That was it. Now, this is Pittsburgh. We're talking Super Bowls, and that was, we tried to get, hold on. A 2-time Super Bowl champ right here with your Pittsburgh Steelers. And you can find him at Steelers preseason games as the color analyst, and for every home game, pre and post game show, doing co-host work with KDKA TV and WDVE Radio, the Steel Valley High School product. Let me hear you make some noise for Charlie Batch.
What's going on, everyone? Haven't been on this side. Typically, for pregame show, we're just on the other side doing the pregame show, so it's good to be a part of this when I don't have to work the pregame show today. So I'm glad to be with you, Moats.
There it is. We'll take a load off today because it is a short week. And as we talk about the short week, we know certain challenges that come with playing on a Thursday night game. If you could, just talk a little bit about the mindset coming into a short week like this.
Well, first and foremost, after a Sunday game, the bumps and bruises are still kicking in, so there's not much you can do on Monday. So generally, that's your off day. Hopefully, you're able to rebound and go through some type of walkthrough type practice because coach has to be smart and make sure he's not beating you up during that time. But a lot of what happens on a short week is more mental than anything else. Understanding the game plan because you can't add too much more to the game plan, but also making sure that you're fresh enough to get through a Thursday game. And if you're able to handle your business, then you get the weekend off, so you can kind of treat it like a mini bye if you handle business here today.
Let's go. Well, we definitely got to handle business tonight. And being that you are the resident quarterback expert, 15 years at this thing, we got a young quarterback out here, man, that we're very excited about in Kenny Pickett. If you could, just talk a little bit about what you've been seeing from here in his second year.
Yeah, I like where he's at right now, and I think a lot of it comes down to now continue to earn that trust from the coaches and making sure that he's able to do more at the line of scrimmage. You saw that in the Baltimore game. He checked out of a play, threw the ball deep to Pickens. We won that ball game, and we want to continue to see that happen. Now, just a little bit nervous here today, only because he has bruised ribs, and if you ever had bruised ribs, those things hurt. So I'm not concerned about whether he can throw the ball. What I'm concerned about is the fact that if he gets pushed to the ground, he now has to push himself up, and that's the part that hurts more than anything. So even if a sack doesn't occur, watch for Tennessee to try to do some slick stuff and try to bump him to knock him down just to see if he can continue to push himself off the ground. So pay attention to it. But either way, it's a long way of saying I think we have the quarterback of the future here with Kenny Pickett. I'm excited to watch him grow.
Let's go. Now, as I said in the intro, you were drafted in that 1998 draft, man, second round pick. Just talk a little bit about your NFL draft story, though. Did you know you were going as early as you did, and specifically, did you think it was going to be Detroit?
Well, I was hoping I went that high, if not higher, so you always dream about that. But I really thought that, Detroit had a keen interest in me because I was just up the road. I went to Eastern Michigan, which was literally only 45 minutes from where the Lions facility was at in Eastern Michigan. So they really spent a lot of time scouting me. I got a chance to know and learn everyone within that organization. And really, I was at home in Homestead, so literally only 15 minutes from where we're at now, and watching that draft. And when your name is popped up on that screen, man, it was a surreal moment. And of course, you become emotional. But ultimately, you didn't know how it was all going to play out. I thought I was going to be in Detroit, but obviously having the opportunity to come here to Pittsburgh after that 2002 season, or during the 2002 season, was special.
And I'm glad you actually brought that up, because I did want to ask you about that, being that you are the local product. You did play high school right up the road here. What went in your mind? What was that thought process like after those first 4 years in Detroit, you getting the opportunity to come back to Pittsburgh to play in front of your family?
Yeah, that was a dream come true, because growing up here, a huge Steelers fan, I always followed what they were doing even when I was in Michigan. So, of course, the television contracts aren't what they are now, so you kind of had to wait for highlights to be able to see what the Steelers were doing. But I was hoping for that opportunity, and for me, it really came earlier than 2002, because if you remember, in 1998, there was a Thanksgiving game that was played.
All right.
And the quarterback for the Detroit Lions at that time was some guy by the name of Charlie Batch, right? So even though it didn't work out for the Steelers on that night, but if you watch that game, you were all part of history that day.
Talk about it.
And I say you were part of history only because during that game, when Jerome Bettis said heads, and then it said tails before the coin hit the ground, that was the last time ever that you were allowed to call the coin flip in the air. So we were all part of history during that time. And even to this day, all of these years later, almost 24 years later, I still ask Jerome, did he call heads or tails? And he still won't answer me. So I say all that to say we're part of history. And ultimately, when I had the chance to come to Pittsburgh and wearing that black and gold, it was a dream come true. And of course, thank you. So when I put that uniform on for the first time, Moats, I was looking at myself longer than anybody else. And I remember that season, we opened up with the New York Jets home for a preseason game. And I'm in the locker room with my uniform on. Everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, why are you
for a preseason game?
For a preseason game. Why do you have your uniform on so early? I was like, because this is a childhood dream of mine coming true. And I had the opportunity here in 2002 and was able to prolong that for 11 seasons here with the Steelers.
Let's go. Now, you're one of those guys that not only started in this league, but you also transitioned and played backup quarterback for a long time. And the perception around backup quarterbacks is, it's easy. Everybody could do it. But we've seen a long list of quarterbacks not be able to have the success that you had. If you could, talk about what the backup QB life was like for you, and ultimately, how would you stay ready?
Well, I think because I was a starter in the NFL during my early parts of my career, I knew how to prepare as a starter. But then when you get to the backup role, it becomes frustrating because ultimately everybody on the team can play with the exception of the second and third team quarterback. So you don't feel like you did anything during the course of that game. And the longer that goes on, a lot of people get that mindset of saying, man, the backup quarterback job is the best job in America. That's until you have to play. And at that point, nobody cares how much practice time you had. It's the middle of the fourth quarter. There's 3 minutes to go in the game. The starter goes out, and it's 3rd and 12, and everybody's saying, I don't give a damn. You better go out there and complete that pass and get us into the end zone. Just win, right? That is it. A lot of people can't do it, but ultimately, it's the trust that you have, not only in yourself, but also the relationship that you're building with the starter, and in this case, it was Ben Roethlisberger, and we had an opportunity to have a long career together, and I backed him up for 9 of my 11 years here.
Let's go. Now, as I said in the intro, you won not 1, but 2 Super Bowls right here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, I know y'all ain't going to sleep now. Okay. But if you could, just talk about both of those experiences for you and what made them uniquely special for you as well.
Well, I think being a part of it, growing up here, all you hear about the Super Bowl championships. And, of course, when you don't win it for a very long time in the manner that we were, kind of some of the similarities that you're hearing now with these teams that are happening, we were trying to get past those teams of the 70s. So to go through that first one, and everybody knew that this was going to be his final year, and we were trying to win one for him. But we stumbled along the way, and we lost 3 in a row in the month of November during that year, and ultimately we lost that Bengals game here in December, and we knew we weren't going to win the division. And at that point, we were 7-5, and we still had a goal of winning the championship, but how was that going to be done? Because we knew we weren't going to win the division. And at that particular point, Coach Cowher was like, listen, guys, you all made it as simple as can be. It doesn't get any clearer than this. You just have to win them all. That was it. 4 games, we go to the wild card, and we open up with the Bengals. And at that time, no 6 seed has ever went on the road and won games in the manner that we had to go out there and do it. But the confidence that we had after we beat Detroit in that Week 16 game, and then we paid the Bengals, went to Indianapolis, went to the Broncos, and then ultimately was in Detroit to win that Super Bowl. And it was pretty cool to have Jerome go out on top in the manner that he did, and it was special to do it.
Let's go.
And everybody says, man, take Jerome home because he played ball here in Pittsburgh and went to Detroit to win the Super Bowl. And I'm like, well, what about me? I played in Detroit and came back home to win a Super Bowl. People didn't want to hear that story. It wasn't an attractive story, but to me it was. Come on, Mo.
I like that story. You know, I like that story a lot, man.
So that was Super Bowl 40, and then of course, Super Bowl 43. You know, that was a game. We were fantastic on defense. We were rolling, and we knew everything was going near, and we had some tough games leading up to it, and beating the Ravens here in that 2008 AFC Championship game, and then ultimately going down to Tampa to beat Arizona. That was a very special moment because we thought it was going to be a cakewalk, and all of a sudden they played their best ball in the fourth quarter, and then we had to put a drive together, and that drive between Ben Roethlisberger and Santonio Holmes was one for the ages, as we all know how it all ended in that particular perspective.
No, without a doubt. Now, we also know that you had a third appearance as well, and we don't talk about it a lot, but if you could, talk about that Super Bowl 45 experience for you, man, and ultimately what that was like as well.
Yeah, it was going through it. I mean, of course, when you go through it a couple times, you're kind of seeing the reactions of everybody else who's never been through it before, right? So you're kind of leading up to it. We played the Jets here in 2010 AFC Championship game, and we knew, and we were loaded, but we knew we were playing against a very competitive team and one of the best who were playing at the top of their game with Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers. And the way that game unfolded, it did not start the way that we thought it was going to start. We got down 14-0, and then all of a sudden, I think it was Jeffries or somebody, one of the receivers ended up dropping a pass. They could have went up 21-0. He ended up dropping it, punting it, and then from there, we were able to get it going. But ultimately, we fell short in that game. We had the momentum, but we fell short. And it was frustrating. And it was frustrating only from the sense of when you go there twice and win it, you don't know what it's like to walk off that field as a loser. And guys were like, what are we supposed to do? Like, the confetti's coming down, and we're all just kind of looking around, and the locker room was dead silence, and we just knew, like, man, we let one go. We really did let one go, and they did a good job of keeping everybody back together and bringing us back in that 2011 season. We went 12-4, but of course, when you come up short and don't win the Super Bowl, they break those teams up, and they have to start over again, and that's ultimately where you saw that team, which we were the oldest team in the league at the time. Then you started to get younger because they had to now prepare for the future.
No, without a doubt. Now we got a couple of more for you, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A from the audience as
Sounds
well,
good.
all right? But you're one of the very unique few that got a chance to play for the Hall of Fame coach, Bill Cowher. But then at the same time, you got a chance to play for future Hall of Fame coaching, Mike Tomlin. If you could, just talk about what that dynamic was like in both of those relationships with you specifically.
Yeah, I think when you're playing with Coach Cowher, I was a fan of his when he got here in '92. So to watch him, I'm thinking, man, hopefully I get an opportunity to play for him at some point. And then when I had the chance to play with him, he was at year 11 for him. And then I was able to play for him year 11 and year 15. And just having that relationship, quarterbacks and head coaches have a different relationship than the majority of the people on the team. But ultimately, we had a very good relationship, loved playing for him, and man, it was great to see him go out on top to win that Super Bowl and cement that legacy for him to be a Hall of Fame coach. And then you roll into Mike Tomlin, and you look at it, you're like, what's up, coach? And then next thing you know, you realize he's only 3 years older than I am. Like, oh. So we had a different relationship again, but again, he was starting at year one versus getting to, and I played for him for 6 years, but to see where he went to in that perspective, number one, the communication and what he brings to the table is clear and concise so every player understands what he demands from you. And he's very fair. Not fair to everybody. He doesn't treat everybody the same.
Talk about it.
But he's very fair. And he's very transparent with that. And you just have to understand your pecking order. And I say that only because if I was to miss a meeting, I would probably get cut. But if Ben Roethlisberger missed a meeting, he'd be like, that's okay, have a seat. We're the same, but he doesn't treat us the same, right? But again, it's just one of those things from a respect factor that he's able to bring to the table, and you can see that still carrying on now. And you talked about one future Hall of Fame coach. He is cementing himself to be that next Hall of Fame coach here with the Steelers.
No, without a doubt. Now, we know during your time playing here, you were amazing in the community in terms of your impact. And even now, retired, you still continue to make great strides in terms of improving the community. If you could, talk about your Best of the Batch Foundation, the inspiration behind it, and some of the work you're still doing today.
Yes, our Best of the Batch Foundation, we're an educational foundation, and we service 3,800 kids annually throughout 9 counties throughout southwestern PA. We're an educational foundation. We focus mainly on STEAM programs, on our after-school programs. And for us to be able to do that, it really started back in 1996 when I lost my sister to senseless gang violence. And I said if I was ever in position to give back, I would. She was only 17 years old, and at that point never had an opportunity to live life. And I said if I was ever in position to give back, I would. And ultimately graduated from Eastern Michigan, and then from there, drafted by the Detroit Lions in 1998 and started the foundation in 1999. Did some one-hour programs in Detroit, redirected our foundation goals when I came here to Pittsburgh in 2002. And then ultimately, here we are now, 23 years later, being able to make that impact into the community. And we just literally went from 5,300 square feet to 33,000 square feet.
Let's go, let's go.
So our numbers now are projected to go from 3,800 kids annually to over 6,000 kids annually.
Impact, that's impact, baby.
And we are excited about that because we don't do this by ourselves. Me and my wife, we don't do that. I'm not going to take the credit and do that because I will be lying to you. We have a lot of great volunteers. We have a lot of great supporters who believe in the mission and the vision that we're trying to accomplish at the Best of the Batch Foundation. So I truly appreciate you all for the support that you have with us and everything that we're doing around the community. So I just truly appreciate it. And if you want to learn more about what we're doing throughout the calendar year, you can go to batchfoundation.org. And if you forget that website, just put Charlie Batch Foundation. And we have a lot of amazing things that are happening, not just this month with the turkey drive, but during the holiday season. Last year we adopted 255 families for the holiday season. This year, we will be over 400 families that we'll be able to adopt. So there are opportunities for you to be a part of it because we collect unwrapped toys. And then we need help wrapping them. And then actually we deliver them on Christmas Eve to make sure they get to the families on where they need to go. So if you go to our foundation website, you'll see all the information on there. If you're local, you can come over, drop off toys. But if you are outside of the area, you can go to the foundation. We have click and ship opportunities that you can actually ship it directly to our foundation. So I just want to thank you in advance for the support this holiday season and really everything that we've done collectively throughout the entire time.
No, without a doubt, without a doubt. All right, it's time for my final question before we open it up to the crowd. But we know when we come from, college, we got that transitional period where we realize, you know what, we are no longer in college, we're officially in the NFL now. We typically call it our welcome to the NFL moment. A lot of times it's not the best situation, but you never forget it.
Right.
If you could, though, talk about your welcome to the NFL moment.
I think for me it was, when I got to the Lions, it was one thing, but it wasn't until halfway through the year when I'm getting ready to go out for warm-ups and we're playing against the Steelers. And I became fan because I'm like, that's Jerome Bettis. That's Coach Cowher. That's Cordell Stewart. Like, I became fan. And at that particular moment, as they're coming up embracing me, it was almost like, congratulations on your success, and they're welcoming me to the NFL. And I was just more surprised that they knew my name. And I'm like, that was it. But the second one came when my idol, Dan Marino, Pittsburgh guy, and we're playing the Dolphins in that preseason game. And as the game unfolded, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I may have an opportunity to meet Dan at some point. And at the end of the game, he comes running up to me, and I'm like, how am I going to embrace him? And is it Mr. Marino? Is it what? And I'm just like, hi, Charlie, my name is Dan.
Oh, no.
And he looked at me and said, no, I'm Dan, you're Charlie. So I got stuck, and I became a fan in that particular moment, but he knew my name, and that was really my welcome to the NFL moment when my childhood idol knew who I was when I walked across to say hello, so I appreciated
Let's
that.
Let's go. Y'all give another round of applause for Charlie Batch. And now we will open it up for some Q&A, so if you have a question for Charlie, raise your hand, come up here real quick, and then we'll get that question answered. Come on up, absolutely. Say your name and your question, please.
It's Jody, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but what is it going to take, or what do we need to do to get you as our offensive coordinator?
Oh, okay.
Well, the question is, what is it going to take for me to become offensive coordinator? Well, first of all, the job has to be open and available, and currently it's not. So I can't speculate on what that could potentially look like. All I can do is hope that everything transpires the way that we hope it ends this season with a Super Bowl victory. And if that's the case, then nobody has to worry about it. And there'll be a lot of apologies that will have to be thrown to a certain person's direction if we pull off this Super Bowl victory.
Spoken like a true media professional. I love it, baby. Yes, come on.
See, that's unfair. That is very unfair. No. But I'm just saying that's very unfair, though.
All right.
But I'm just saying that's very unfair, though. That is very unfair. That is very unfair. It really is. But I'm not. But I am too, though. Wait. All I'm asking is, don't get defensive because you said what you said. Allow me to respond. All I'm saying is very offensive because you already came in here with preconceived notions on what negative things are going to happen. We can't do that as Steelers Nation. We just can't. That's all I'm saying.
Positive vibes.
That's all I'm saying.
The positive vibes.
That's all I'm saying. And I appreciate and love the support. All I'm saying is not just you, collectively, we all have to support in this particular manner, not come in with preconceived notions on something negative that's going to happen. That's all I'm saying. There we go. That's all I'm saying.
Love, baby, love. Speaking of, what's your name, man?
Mark. First off, love your choice in hoodies.
Yes, sir.
Secondly, who gave you your hardest hit?
Who gave me my hardest hit? I don't even think it happened on the football field. I think it happened growing up in Homestead. There was some female by the name of Conra.
Oh.
Her last name is Williams.
Yo.
And all I can say is, she allowed me one time because she was going to go visit her family. She said, "You can ride my big wheel," and it was the green machine.
Okay, the big one. Yeah.
Man, I was young, and the older kids in the neighborhood bullied me to take this daggone.
Yeah, the green machine, yeah.
They bullied me and took the green machine, right? So whenever Conrad came home, she saw these other kids that are riding her big wheel around, and she comes over to me and lays me out.
No.
That is the true story. It is on camera. And that person actually is here today.
Uh-oh. Point her out.
Conra right here. Come on up here.
Hey!
I'll show you. Come on up here. So this is Conra right here. She's the one.
Let's go.
Hey, when things are the truth, you can say it. And when there's no debate, you know it's real, right? But that is my girl. That's like my sister. I love her to death. She born and raised in Homestead. Appreciate you, Conrad. And you actually have Mr. B here. This is a guy here that really taught me in school when I was in middle school and high school. So appreciate all the love and support over 30 years with these two.
Let's go. Let's go. We got time for probably about one or two more. What's up, man? Say your name and what's your question?
Hayden, what's your favorite moment starting as a quarterback?
Favorite moment starting as a quarterback? Probably could easily, no, it's the 2012 year. Going into Baltimore and beating them in their house.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. Like, it really was. And to do that literally in 2012, knowing that that was the last game that I would ever start, and then knowing that that was their last loss before they went on and won the Super Bowl. Say I went out and beat the eventual world champions in their house. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, who has the final question? Right there. I like that jacket, by the way. Sharp, sharp. Say your name and your question, please.
My name's Steve. I just came in from New Jersey earlier today. Should the position be open for offensive coordinator? Do you think that Ben would be a good replacement for Matt Canada?
Oh, he said if the offensive coordinator position did open up, do you think that Ben Roethlisberger would be a good potential replacement?
I think he would, but I don't know if he would run the ball. I think he would throw it 60, 70 times a game, and then we'd be complaining about us not being able to run the ball. We might throw for 600 yards, but then our running back may only have 10 yards. So I say all that to say, I truly believe that Ben can be an offensive coordinator, better yet, a head coach in this league if he wanted to do so. Absolutely, 100%.
Let's go, let's go. Well, once again, Steelers Nation, give another round of applause for Charlie Batch. Y'all have been awesome tonight. And let's get loud one more time as we go out here and get a dub.